Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to Sacked in the Morning. I'm your host Caleb, and Isak's Liverpool is on. Apparently, I'm not sure. So Ben Jacobs has come out basically and said that if there's any opportunity of Isak departing, Liverpool will take advantage of it, and they are prepared to smash their transfer record in order to get him in. They recently broke their transfer record for the signing of Florian Wirtz, even though that hasn't been announced. We've already got the here we go. We know that's done. So is Isak to Liverpool a possibility? Bearing in mind Newcastle United's first home game of the season is going to be Liverpool at home. So can you imagine them seeing Isak rock up in the red stripes of Liverpool? That'd be absolutely incredible. So realistically, with Newcastle United achieving Champions League football, they're not really in a position to start Alexander Isak, but money does talk. Liverpool cashing on Coutinho. I mean, they sold him for 142 million. They revamped their squad. They brought in Salah. They brought in Van Dijk. They brought in that's the 135 million right there. They brought in other players on top of that. Newcastle United might look at it and go, right, if Liverpool offer them 150 million, they have to take it. I mean, they can't refuse 150 million. That's what 60. That's more than they bought him for. What, 60 million. So they've nearly made 100 million in profit for Alexander Isak. That's ridiculous. I mean, in terms of PSR world, I mean, they're basically free at that point, and they've got the Champions League football. They won't have to sell basically for the next 3 years. I mean, the amount of players they could go and invest in. Obviously, they'd have to go get a quality striker to replace him. But I mean, Newcastle United are still very cautious about overpaying for players purely because of PSR. If they were to let him go, all of a sudden that just completely opens up. There is obviously the flip side where clubs know that they've got money, so they start to sort of overcharge and whatever. But Newcastle already been overcharged all window. You know, the likes of, for example, they believe they've been priced out of a deal for Anthony Elanga, Antoine Semenyo. Those are just a few to list. If Liverpool are serious and they put 150, maybe even it's not going to be 150 straight up. Maybe 130 million with maybe 20 million in add-ons, something like that. I don't know how Newcastle United say no. I feel like this is a place where Eddie Howe's going to basically put it aside by the owners and say, right, we have to accept this and go and find the next Isak or something like that. I mean, it's a really, really fascinating story. Do I think Isak will go? No. But if Liverpool did put 150 million bid in, rising to 160 million, I don't know how the whole Newcastle United say no to that. That's like just 40 million less than what Barcelona paid for Neymar. He's 26 years old. Isak will definitely want the move. There's no doubt that, he's not getting any younger. He's entering the sort of prime of his career now. The only question is whether he can stay fit. He played once a week this season. He's pretty much been available. But he did tail off towards the end of the season. He did sort of pick up an injury. He missed the Arsenal game at the end of the season. But it's such a fascinating, interesting story, isn't it? On top of that, let's look at some of the fixtures that have been released today. So Arsenal are the ones definitely with the hardest run. They start off at Old Trafford. They then play Leeds at home, which should be a win. They then go away to Anfield, who could potentially have Isak in his team. They've then got Forest at home. They've got Forest at home. I mean, that's not going to be an easy game. I don't know what to make of Forest, to be honest with you. It's difficult for me to predict Forest at this moment in time. City at home and then Newcastle away, where they seem to lose every season. So Arsenal could potentially come out of their first 6 games with maybe only 2 to 3 victories. I mean, all of a sudden it's sort of like, wow, title race might be over already. Liverpool have a decent start. Manchester United play, but Liverpool do play Newcastle away in the opening. They also have the Merseyside derby in the first 5 games. Newcastle is not probably the place you want to go. In terms of Newcastle, in terms of their start, they've got Aston Villa away on the first game of the season. That's not a great start for them at all. It's a difficult one for Villa as well. They then got Liverpool. They then got a favourable run, I think, up until the Arsenal game. The Tyne-Way derby, or the Way-Tyne derby, the one to look out for, because I think that derby is going to be absolutely incredible. 13th of December, right before Christmas, right before winter. So I wonder whose Christmas is going to be spoiled, Newcastle or Sunderland's. As for Chelsea, they have a very favourable start. They don't play anyone, in my opinion, that's a really big threat. So we could definitely see Chelsea, despite having the Club World Cup fatigue alongside it, they definitely could have a very sort of good start to the season. And as for Manchester United play Arsenal, they play Chelsea, and they play Man City in their first 5 games. They also have Fulham away. I guess any game, when you finish 15th in the league. I think Man United finished. Any game is going to be tough for them. They'll obviously be unveiling, for example, the likes of Cunha, potentially Mbomo, maybe even Gyökeres. Imagine Gyökeres' first game of the season is against Arsenal. It would be Šeško against Gyökeres, it could potentially be. And imagine Gyökeres one scored the winner. I can really see Arsenal fans going crazy. It's difficult to tell with the Premier League fixtures in the sense that, do you want to play the teams early and get them out of the way like Arsenal, or would you rather have a slower run and play them on later on like Chelsea? It's a bit of both because you want to build momentum, but you could also catch these teams out cold. That's why maybe Liverpool, so first away game being at Newcastle could definitely catch them out. But then it's also a case of maybe Liverpool want to get the Newcastle game out of the way, for example, not have it, for example, in a title run-in when Newcastle also go for Champions League and Liverpool go for the title. So there's a different factor to consider as well. Yeah, but I mean the Premier League is starting to hot up, but I think given that a lot of these sides do have tough starts, you could say they have to get their business done early. But anyway, thanks for watching. Just as a conclusion, I don't think Isak will go, but I do think if Liverpool did put 150 million bid in, I do think Newcastle United would definitely consider it, and I couldn't see him going. But if I was to predict now, I would predict Newcastle United to keep Alexander Isak. Thanks for watching.